Welcome back to Jags Watches, and in today's video I'll be reacting to Daniel Craig's watch collection. Now, not only is he my favourite James Bond ever, he's also a Liverpool Football Club fan, and so for me he becomes one of my favourite human beings. Comment down below who your favourite Bond is. Now for me, he brought a depth to the character that I think other Bonds just never had. Don't get me wrong, I was a huge fan of Pierce Brosnan growing up, and also Sean Connery, both iconic in their own right, but Sean Connery brought a certain depth that I don't think anyone else did. And he's a Liverpool fan, so there we have it. We're not going to waste any more time. Let's get into it. Of course, these are going to be my unfiltered takes, and we'll be responding to it. I have a feeling this is going to be an Omega Fest, but we'll see.
This is from Casino Royale.
It's the watch I wore in Casino Royale.
The name's Bond.
Okay, can we just take a moment and just look at how well he's dressed? Looking good, Daniel, looking good. But I expect nothing less.
James Bond.
I've got to say, I'm going to miss him as James Bond, man. Cue the sad music. Just cue it. I think the next person has got a mammoth task to try and fill his shoes in, that's for sure.
James Bond.
Hi, welcome to Dialed In. I'm thrilled to welcome Daniel Craig to our studio today. Multi-talented actor of stage.
Nice glasses.
Most recently, you've seen him in Glass Onion.
This crime clashed with the presence of Benoit Blanc.
And he's brought along some of his watches. It's interesting that you're the Speedmaster, because obviously in your role as Bond, it's much more known for the Seamaster.
Right. Yes.
What is it about the Speedmaster that attracted you?
Well, the moon thing, one. I mean, just kind of the...
Of course it was going to be the moon thing, because everybody who buys a Seamaster is just somebody who wanted to be an astronaut, I think. Also, talking about the Seamaster that he's got, I really like that NATO combination. I don't think I've ever seen that before. But one thing that really sticks out to me with regarding this watch is that it's a manual wind watch. And I think that's not talked about enough. The fact that you develop a relationship, you sort of, because it's a manual wind, you get to see it up close a little bit more than you would with an automatic movement, for example. And I think that's why this Seamaster has such a cult following, because those people that have it end up spending a lot of time, you know, touching it and being close face to face with it quite a lot. Not often talked about enough.
The idea that this watch was designed, the fact that it's, you know, you have to wind it, it sort of kind of has it's sort of very mechanical and functional. But
And the winding thing, you kind of have more of a relationship with it when you have to wind it.
Exactly. It's a really good thing to say. You have a relationship with it.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more.
Really dysfunctional, because I forgot to wind mine this morning.
Well, that's another thing. That's a relationship. I mean, it's right there.
Also, whatever he's got on his wrist looks great. It looks like an Omega with the Bond NATO strap. I hope they talk about that.
How did you get started in watches in the first place?
My father bought me a watch for my 18th birthday, which was a vintage Omega.
Of course it was a vintage Omega. You know what, I love it though, because these are the sorts of stories I love to hear about between, you know, father and son, or just family really. Watches being bought for 18th, 21st birthdays, whatever it may be. It's about creating those memories and having those emotional attachments. I love that.
It was very beautiful. And I wore it to death, and unfortunately I wore it so often that one of the arms broke and I lost it on the Wurlitzers in the fair, which is stupid.
That's crazy.
Omega and Wurlitzers.
If I ever did that, my dad would probably beat the hell out of me. If he bought me a watch, an Omega, for my 18th birthday, and I went on some random ride and it flew off my wrist, I dread to think what would happen to me.
This is from Casino Royale.
It's the watch I wore in Casino Royale.
Very cool.
The very first clip, which is the crane and the parkour.
Exactly.
And the
Very cool
crushing.
scene. Very cool scene.
There was probably about 3 of these, and stunt guys wore them, and I had...
You know, the one thing about the Planet Ocean, I've always liked it, and I remember when this film was released for Casino Royale, this particular Omega released, I very much wanted it. I was at a time where I wasn't earning money myself. I did try it on, but it was far too big for me, far too chunky for my taste, but a great looking watch, I have to say.
And I'm sad to say, but it still had red clay on it up until it's just gone. I'd never cleaned it from that set.
And it's engraved from Michael G. Wilson and Barbara Broccoli.
They gave it to me afterwards, and they kind of came, and so it's very very precious to me. But I never wear it. I mean, it's too
Yeah,
precious to me.
it's special, right? And
You know what? We talk about emotional attachments to watches, but just imagine if, I mean, I can't imagine how important that watch is to him. It being his first Bond film, you know, being able to take away that memento from filming that. I mean, it was such an iconic film as well. There's no doubt he's got a huge attachment to that watch.
started working for her father, Cubby, when she was 17
Yes.
in the press department, so she knows Bond just as well as anyone. Did she guide you? I know she approached you, right, for the role, is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Thank God
I
she
met
did.
Barbara.
Thank God.
This one's really intriguing, and it sent me down the rabbit hole last night at about 10:30. It's in the mid to late 60s.
Lovely.
Seamaster
Lovely.
300 diver, but I don't think I've seen very many which actually have the old script on it.
It's a great point, actually. We never talk about pre-90 Seamasters, really, do we? And I guess that's because Pierce Brosnan, that release with GoldenEye really kind of reimagined the original Seamaster. But look at this watch now, and you look at how those indices have patined. You can see them slightly yellow on the screen. And the sword hands as well. A lot of people don't like the skeleton hands on the new Seamasters. A lot of people do prefer these sword hands, but I think it's quite an underrated Seamaster, I have to say.
I may be wrong, but I think that's much rarer than the ones that came in the
I hope you're right.
60s.
No, but
How
it's
did you
lovely.
come by it?
So I was in Budapest and I was filming.
Of course he was.
I'd already had the meeting with Barbara. There wasn't an offer on the table, but it was sort of like it was getting very close to crunch time about whether or not I was going to kind of get involved. And I saw it in the window of a shop in Budapest, and it was in a real state. And in fact, if you look, I mean, you can see it there, but there's sort of damage
On the loom.
on the loom.
Yeah.
And it was sort of working, and I got totally taken to the cleaner.
You know, I love that. I love that. You can tell that he's just a proper watch guy. He just loves watches. It's nice that he's trying to attribute certain memories to watches. Like he was saying that the offer was on the table for him being the next James Bond, and a result of that, he wanted to buy an Omega. But if you attribute memories and certain accolades to watches, I think that's just the best way to buy. Honestly, that's my advice anyway.
Now this one's a nice one. This is the coaxial, master coaxial chronometer.
I absolutely love this watch. Absolutely love it. There's only one watch I love more in the Omega lineup, which I hope they talk about in this video. But this watch can act as a GMT as well, because usually you have a diver's bezel, a timing bezel on this particular Seamaster. But for this one, for Spectre, which is the film that this is connected to, you can see it's got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Thank God I can count to 10, hey? Oh, sorry, 11. But it's almost a cheat to have a GMT. It just so happens this was a limited edition, and you can pick this watch up for sort of between, I think, £6,000 to £10,000, depending on whether you get box and papers and all that kind of stuff. But it's very, very impressive, the boxing the box and the premium box that this comes with. I love the aesthetics of this watch. Absolutely stunning.
So what's nice about this one is, you can see, this is not for sale,
Yeah.
which means it's a prototype.
Nice.
And
of course, he's the only one that deserves to have this watch.
In today, because
Really?
I
Yeah.
thought they might ask for it back. And they may still do. So I know.
Cut that bit.
I've got the.
I doubt they'll
lollipop
ask it for it
version
back.
of that one as well, which I was going to bring in, but I just thought that was much nicer.
Look at that case back as well on that. Beautiful
probably
watch.
shouldn't own it.
Absolutely stunning.
This one, I didn't even know this existed until I saw this a picture of this yesterday.
right.
It's the Memo-Matic. Tell me about that.
I love
Funky.
this sort of
Funky
period
for sure.
When that television series,
Looks like a bit like a spaceship, like a UFO.
Space 1999, they're sort of futuristic watches. They're kind of but what really appealed to me, but this has got an alarm on it.
Yeah.
I
Nice.
had a watch years ago. I don't know what make it was. It was certainly wasn't an Omega, and it had an alarm on it, and that's how I used to get.
Not a very common feature of watches nowadays, an alarm, but I have to say there is a use for it. You cannot deny there is a use for it. Of course, we've all got cell phones now, iPhones or whatever. But a nice little gimmick to have an alarm on a watch.
And I just but it would then go on my wrist, and I just thought that was the best.
It's a little tinny mechanical alarm, but it's actually quite pleasant.
And it's just, I mean,
I like the bracelet on that. I do like it. I think there's a place to wear that.
It's a lot of fun.
Weirdly, I don't think it looks out of date. To be honest, I think
yeah. But again, it's that kind of that's
very cool. I like it. Not my personal favorite so far, but I do like it.
Chunky, but rather nice.
I think a lot of it, that design was in the sort of follow-up to the moon landings. Everyone went space mad. Oh, back on the moon.
Yeah, again, that's just
40th anniversary.
This is probably my least favorite of his collection so far.
again, that's just to kind of tie into, you know, that's the kind of the basic moon watch. And then when I got a bit more money, I got that one.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is what happens when you have loads of money. You just buy watches for jokes, really. And, his other Seamaster's a lot better than this, in my opinion. But, it's a Seamaster. It's a Speedmaster. You can't go wrong with it.
Like, it's just the commemorative one. And again,
but definitely my least favorite so far.
I wear it all the time, so.
You can see, I was going to say, you can tell he wears his watches. They're not in the greatest of condition, but that's what they're there for. I hate it when somebody, tells me, I've got a Rolex or I've got an Omega or whatever. I'm just too scared to wear it. Watches are there to be worn. Watches will get scratches on them, but that's the whole point. I honestly feel like you shouldn't buy it if you're scared to wear it. That's just my opinion anyway.
I don't tend to wear that off very often, but I wear all of these watches.
I'm sure there's some that you sort of keep under lock and key, but you really like to wear them rather than...
I mean, what's the point? What's the point?
That's just what I basically said. Hey, great minds think alike, eh?
Wear them, get the function out of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
Now, this one is interesting. This is from Yann Arthus Bertrand's organization, which is for,
Again, a Planet Ocean. It's nice, but I prefer the Casino Royale version, for sure.
Particular reason to do with that operation, or is it just something that came to you by chance?
This is where this interview just goes down the pan because it's blue.
At least he's honest, eh? At least he's honest.
There's the orange ones that were around, which I've never.
Yeah, I mean, with the Planet Ocean, there's a lot of variants out there now. But for me, I think still that Casino Royale, that was the one that I think is just classic, the black version with that see-through case back and the rubber strap. I don't think you can beat that Planet Ocean. Don't get me wrong, there's loads of variations. There's that GMT version, there's obviously the normal diver versions of this watch, but
I think it's just a beautiful watch, just like, and again, I wear this one all the time as well. You can tell it's covered in crap. I did actually try to clean some of these.
I love how honest he is.
I was there with my little
toothbrush
and cleaning it. I'm like, oh, come on, that's what they did. That's what
I'm going to bring in this one
very
now,
chunky
which
watches
we borrowed for the day, which is your most recent Seamaster 300.
Hey, guys, got it on my wrist.
Same time. I like the fact that they put the broad arrow on the
My favorite Omega of all time. Let's see what they have to say about it.
dial as well, which has been a mark of ownership by the crown or by the government.
Wow.
Basically means this is not your watch. You're going to give it back when you finish your service or whatever it is.
So that's interesting. I always thought about that broad arrow, and I knew the connection to the military, but I never quite knew you had to give it back as a sign, of not actually being the owner of it. Very interesting.
I think that's a sort of a watch that's out there that you have in the back of your mind that you're still looking for, or if it comes along, you'll...
So I'm a bit upset they didn't really talk about the No Time to Die Seamaster. No Time to Die Seamaster. I'll talk about it a little bit now because I'm an advocate for this watch. It's my favorite Omega of all time, and Daniel Craig actually played a part in designing this watch. So you could argue it's the most Bond watch that exists because no other actor previously had any sort of part to play in the design of the Bond watch. And for me, it's the ultimate. My favorite Omega for sure.
Nabbit, something in your head.
I don't feel very comfortable wearing the really expensive watches, and I've got a couple of really nice ones, so for very special occasions I wear them. But on a day-to-day,
He probably lives in London then.
I want to wear a watch that feels like I feel comfortable having on my wrist.
Now, if
I can definitely relate to that. I mean, as I mentioned, I live in London as well, and often you think, okay, if I had a Patek or if I had, I don't know, just even certain Rolexes, right? You just wouldn't feel comfortable wearing them, or safe wearing them. And it's such a sad thing, right? Especially now in London, in the UK, watch crime is rife. But I would never buy a certain watch that I wouldn't feel comfortable wearing. And that kind of removes a lot from the list, especially those popular models. And I'm always somebody that kind of strays away from what's trending anyway. But it's interesting because even somebody like him, who's an actor that probably has security with him all the time, he himself is very conscious about what he wears. I think it's just a sign of the times that we live in.
threat of being evaporated, you had to keep one of these watches. Which one would you keep?
I think it's a toss-up between those two because that's I bought that, but I think it has to be the Casino Royale one. It's like it's kind of that has a.
You know, I had a feeling he would pick that. I did say because of the emotional connection he has to the watch. It's got nothing to do with price. It's got nothing to do even maybe with whether he likes that watch aesthetically, likes wearing it more. It's because of what he attributes to that watch, that first film, and it was a hit at the end of the day.
Really significant. I mean, it's the moment my life changed basically. So I think
Amazing.
I would say that was the one.
Do you think you might be able to find a replacement for the one that flew off your wrist at the?
I did. I found one.
You did.
Yeah, I did.
And it's as close as you
As
get.
close as I can get. Yeah.
Marvelous.
Yeah.
Well, Dalian, thank you very much for your time. It's been very fascinating and.
Oh, thank you.
There you have it. A very, very interesting collection, and there's no doubt he has way more watches, and he's being humble for sure in this video. My favorite Bond, and seems like an absolutely great guy as well, and he's a Liverpool fan. I just want to throw that out there again. He supports the best English side to have ever existed. I'm gonna get hate for that, but there you have it. For me, No Time to Die Seamaster is my favorite watch he's showed there. The Casino Royale, Planet Ocean, it's nice to see that he values that emotional connection more than anything else. And you can tell he's a proper watch guy as well, for sure. The Spectre Seamaster, is probably the most underrated Bond watch in my opinion. I think it's not talked about enough. And even just the normal version of that watch is pretty underrated. I think it's got that beautiful vintage aesthetic and the vintage domed sapphire crystal as well. Beautiful watch. There was my reaction to Daniel Craig, the greatest Bond ever to have lived. Let me know in the comments down below what your favorite watch was from that list. And as usual, if you've enjoyed the video, please do like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. I've been Jag from Jags Watches, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.